Welcome to Mountain Strong. Today I've come to one of our neighborhood parks, Campbell Creek Estuary Park, just a few miles from where I'm currently living. But as I mentioned in our last video, in about 72 hours we will be leaving our home here in Alaska and headed towards a new home down in Arizona. But for today, I got to come here for just a little bit, reflect upon the beauty of God's creation, just kind of calm down a little bit. A lot of stress with moving, one of the most difficult things that you can do in life, and our family has done it a number of times. It doesn't make it any easier. Was blessed to be able to see one moose incoming here. That was pretty cool to get up, out of the car, and Alaska is like saying goodbye. But anyway, we're going to catch the sunset here. It's technically supposed to be sunset at like 4 o'clock. We have daylight. This is one of our shortest periods in terms of day length. I don't know if we've reached the equinox yet. We will soon, but it's like 6 hours of daylight or 5.5 or something like that. And so even though the internet says it's supposed to be like at 4, and it's supposed to be like there for 20 minutes away from now, it looks like it's actually going down now. Anyway, whatever. Today we're going to be having a look at Psalm number 140. Let's go ahead and read that now. Deliver me, O Lord, from evil men. Preserve me from violent men who plan evil things in their heart and stir up wars continually. They make their tongue sharp as a serpent's, and under their lips is the venom of asps. Guard me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from violent men who have planned to trip up my feet. The arrogant have hidden a trap for me, and with cords they have spread a net. Beside the way they have set snares for me. I say to the Lord, you are my God. Give ear to the voice of my pleas for mercy, O Lord. O Lord, my Lord, the strength of my salvation, you have covered my head in the day of battle. Grant not, O Lord, the desires of the wicked. Do not further their evil plot, or they will be exalted. As for the head of those who surround me, let the mischief of their lips overwhelm them. Let burning coals fall upon them. Let them be cast into fire, into miry pits, no more to rise. Let not the slanderer be established in the land. Let evil hunt down the violent man speedily. I know that the Lord will maintain the cause of the afflicted and will execute justice for the needy. Surely the righteous shall give thanks to your name. The upright shall dwell in your presence. It's been a while since we have countered in the Psalms the word selah. And what I've done is I've done what I believe that word implies, which is to pause at the moment that that word occurs. And what I believe that that intends is not just a musical direction perhaps, but that the psalm is actually calling for us to pause at that moment to reflect. And the psalmist himself is pausing and stopping. And so notice the thought and then the pause, and the thought and the pause and the thought and the pause in this psalm, because there's a lot of pauses and there's a lot of different thoughts. The first thought is a call upon God to deliver him from the plans and words of those who face him. He's facing a situation where there's some evildoers. A lot of psalms have that as a backdrop. And so the psalmist is facing some evildoers and their plans. He calls upon God to help about that, to make sure that their words do not amount to anything. Their plans don't rise up against him. And so then he pauses after turning that matter over to God. He realizes, though, that it's not just words that are against him. And so after that pause, he doesn't have relief yet from his problem. And so he switches gears and he talks about how he wishes for God to deliver him from his enemies' plots and from their traps. So not just what they say in verses 1 through 3, but actually what they're planning to do, verses 4 and 5. But then after another pause, he says, you are my God. And I like what pausing does. When you actually stop and reflect upon the problem, sometimes the problem will amplify in your mind, as it does for the psalmist. He realizes not just words, but plans and plots. But then he pauses again, continues and persists in that act of actually meditatively thinking about the problem, and it allows God to come back into the picture. He says, you are my God. You are my God. You are the strength of my salvation. And in fact, you are my God leads into a couple of different thoughts. He says in verse 7, you've helped me before. He says, you're the strength of my salvation. You have covered, past tense, my head in the day of battle. You've had my head. You've had my neck. You've been protecting me. And Then he says in verse 8, help me. Don't allow these wicked people to be exalted. But then another pause. And it's that third pause where all of that finally comes to the front. His problem, which was magnified by reflection, has, through continued reflection, caused him to again bring God back into the picture, to realize that God has helped him in the past and realize that God will help him in the future. And then, after all of that, he realizes in verses 9 through 11 that, these people actually deserve punishment, and therefore in verses 12 and 13, it's going to happen. I know that the Lord will maintain the cause of the afflicted and will execute justice for the needy. I know that God does this, and I know therefore that He's going to take care of this problem. And so if there's an encouragement from this psalm in particular, and I think there are a number of psalms who drive this point home, but from this psalm in particular, if there's an encouragement that I can give you, when you're thinking about your problems, obviously thinking about them can cause the problem to get bigger in your mind. Continue to bring that problem to God over and over again, but continue also to be open to reflecting and thinking about the problem, not just in the ways that you're drawn to think about it. Our mind likes to think about trouble and craves it sometimes. But set that aside for a moment and think about the problem from the standpoint of God. Allow God to come back into the picture. And then you'll see how that prayer and your reflections turns more and more to faith and the solution that you know that God is going to provide. So again, you got a problem? You can see here to pray about it. You got a problem? You can see here to think about it. But you've got a problem, pause, stop, and allow yourself to reorientate yourself to think about the problem from the standpoint of the fact that God is on your side. I know you'll get your way through it. Very appropriate psalm for me today. As I said, I'm really stressed out about things, but psalms like these remind me that it's going to be okay, and God is going to carry me through my problems as much as He's going to carry you through yours. May God bless you today.